Hi, and welcome to a Minnesota Banking Minute. My name is Jay Tamburino with the Minnesota Bankers Association, and today our special guest is Dylan from SBS Cyber, and we wanted to talk a little bit about Office 365. Now, we've seen a lot of banks migrate from an Exchange in-house server to Office 365, and I thought, okay, let's have a discussion on the security controls that should be in place. Dylan, welcome.
Hi, Jay. Thanks for having me. Just a little bit about myself quick. I'm an IT auditor with SBS Cybersecurity. Been with SBS for about 6 years. And you're right about the migration to Office 365. Most banks are starting to migrate just because they don't want that server in-house. And looking at some of the controls that we want to make sure that we have in place, starting with access. How do we access that information? Not only do we want to have multi-factor authentication on that, but looking at what users can actually access once they're in that platform, as far as SharePoint and Microsoft Teams and some of the other features that are in there. Not only can they access that, but what specifically: folder access, file access, things of that nature, administrative access, all good things to think about when accessing that.
Are there some security features that are configured right out of the box that should be changed in Office 365?
Office 365's by standard platform is relatively secure, but there's a lot of extra layers that we can add to make sure that we have a more granular approach to security, starting with things like advanced threat protection, which scans for safe attachments and safe links whenever anything drops into makes it past our anti-spam filtering, as well as data loss prevention is a really good tool to protect banks from not only when stuff comes in, but protecting anything that leaves, whether it be through Outlook, whether it be through Microsoft Teams or SharePoint. We can configure that at a granular approach to make sure that anything, if we want to say anything with a social security number, anything with an account number, anything like that, we can catch before it leaves to help prevent a breach of any information that may be sensitive to us. And we can kind of tailor that to fit our organization as much as possible.
Now, are there any notifications that should be turned on, or is there a sweet spot for notifications where you're not really slowing down productivity, but you're able to be notified when things happen?
Sure. Well, we want to make sure the same approach we take to other systems, such as our firewall or our domain network, that we're applying that same kind of principle to Office 365. Really anything that is outside the scope of normal, right? So if there's a new administrative user that's added, or if there's any high volume of documentation being either exported or deleted or changed, modified, we want to make sure that anything that kind of falls outside the realm of normal is being alerted and to us as administrators at our organization, to make sure that the same way, the same risk approach that we apply to everything else that we configure is applied to Office 365 Suite as well.
Perfect. So there are a slew of Office 365 packages that you can subscribe to. Is there any specific ones to avoid, or is there any specific ones specifically designed for financial institutions?
Sure. Well, none of them are specifically applied to financial institutions. What you'll find a lot of time is that the more price, the more features. And so even if you settle on some of the lower priced bundles, you can still use Microsoft add-ons. So if there's a package you want that fits your organization as far as users or applications, you can still add some of those security features on. Let's say if your package doesn't have advanced threat protection, you want to include that as an add-on that can be applied, or data loss prevention, or any of the other applications or security features to fit your specific needs as an organization.
Now, is there any special auditing programs, reports that should be being pulled out of Office 365 for customers so they can actually look at who has what rights and who has what? I mean, where is the reporting within 365 that banks have to be able to prove are being looked at?
Sure. So within the Microsoft Office 365 Security and Compliance Center, every module, let's say advanced threat protection or user access or any of the other applications that we have in place as far as security features, will have their own reporting. So if you have a mobile device management suite that you apply certain rules to, you can go in and see who's accessing that mobile device platform or how are they accessing it, things of that nature. So within the Security Compliance Center, the Microsoft has a bevy of reports that can be reviewed, not only for access, but for malicious activity or things that fall out of the normal scope of the day-to-day activity that your organization has.
Perfect. Dylan, I want to thank you for your time today. This has been very informational.
It's been a pleasure, Jay. Thanks for having me.